it's important not to just set and forget the foundational pieces of your podcast.
For the ones that have a podcast for a while and they feel like they've plateaued, what are some things that they could do in order to kind of really energize that show?
Yes, I love this question because it's probably not what you're expecting for me to how I will answer it is probably not what you're expecting. If your show has plateaued, the very first thing that you need to do is dig into the discoverability foundational pieces. So when we do podcast audits, for example, yes, we're going to look at your format. We're going to look at your production value and this quality of production quality value. That's one piece of it. But we spend a third of the time that we building these audits, we spend all of that time looking at how people are discovering your show, but not in the way that you might think. We are looking at it as if we wanted to find a podcast about agency masterminds. If I'm a person who's looking for an expert in building and scaling an agency, if I'm a person who's looking for the kind of content that you provide, I want to know how your podcast is showing up. That's the angle that we will take first. So we will look at how it's being discovered by people who are searching for the content, because you're never going to grow your audience. You may sustain your audience, but you've got to grow it and put it in front of new people, because they need to be able to find you. And there's certain strategic things like the way your show is named and how many characters in your show description, down to what your podcast platform, how your podcast platform is the benefits. Are you utilizing all of them? Are they even there for you? And if they are you utilizing all of them? So that discoverability piece and that metadata piece, that's very, very important if a show is stagnating. There's shows that launched during the pandemic when it was a bit of a frenzy and a free-for-all, but they overlooked the foundational growth pieces because they either didn't know them or they didn't work with an expert to help them set them up from the beginning in the right way. So that's
probably only post it to iTunes and you haven't posted it to iHeart or Spotify, right?
Well, I mean, we've had crazy examples. Like we've done an audit for a show and they weren't even showing up on Apple Podcasts. And when we dug into it and we were like, why? They were like, oh, well, when we started the show, we didn't know how to get approval on Apple. So we just never did it. And then we forgot. And that's, I'm not judging this person. I'm just saying it happens. Like it was a frenzy.
Happens all the time.
And right. And so like I get to look like a genius in some of these scenarios when I do this audit presentation. And some of it's just crossing T's and dotting I's that you didn't even know were in the word in the first place.